Good afternoon. Today is day 22 of our Corona confinement. Some people it's been a little bit more, some people it's been a little bit less, depending on when your state or whatever gave the order that you have to stay put. It shouldn't be an order. It should be like, okay, we're going to really bless you. We're going to get you out of danger. And it was up to us whether we wish to take that advice or not. So it's been a very interesting 24 hours. I haven't liked looking in the mirror this week. Well, a couple weeks. You know, my hair color's fading and my hair's growing out. It's getting to that ugly stage. Like, you know, it either has to be short or long. In between is just, you know. But remember what I say over and over again. If you take that calendar and you color in the square for that day and the color that you feel, and I think I would have for the last 24 hours, I would have colored in the square to be blue and black, or I should say black and blue, I don't know. You know, everything just started to get to me. Just the, you know, the consistent, if you take a pie chart and put how much negative news is there, how much positive, that kind of thing, how much are you worried? It's just, no matter sometimes how hard we try to pull ourselves up, a lot of times we wind up falling back down. So I'm going to share with you, I did for myself what I call urgent self-care. For my urgent self-care, what I did was I sat back, I relaxed, I had some tea, I had a wonderful conversation with my niece. These are all the things that help, especially help me when I get off track. And I had to think about it because no one is going to heal us but ourselves. Of course, God heals, but we've got to make that possible. And so I had to think about what were the things that I was doing that made me not as buoyant as I normally am. One of my friends emailed me and she said, how are you doing? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you writing? And I had to tell her, no, I haven't been writing. I've been busy doing this. But, you know, I realized I really miss writing. Then as I sat down in the afternoon and had my afternoon Triscuits and cheese and crackers and a little wine, I looked at the top of my TV table and it was dusty. There is no reason for the top of my TV table to be dusty. Even if I'm watching TV, you know, it doesn't take 2 seconds to swipe a duster over it. So what that was indicating to me is that I needed self-care. And I also needed to dust my furniture. Not because I have to, not because what if somebody drops by, and nobody dropping by now, what if having a dusty tabletop kind of makes me unhappy? I invite you to look at the ways that it would be helpful for you to practice self-care. And one of the other things that helps is, first of all, to reduce the news. Secondly, I encourage you to look for good news. Sometimes it's easier to Google today's good news and coronavirus, and that way you'll see what things are coming up that are good. Isn't that great? Eliminate the bad news, keep the good news. So one of the things that I got a glimmer of hope for today was that a research agency had discovered that it is very likely that the virus is not going to last as long as they had felt, and the casualties might not be as high as we dreaded. Every casualty is tragic. I want to be real clear about that. But the thought that maybe there was a glimmer of hope, that is something we want to feast on. So one of the things I thought when I was looking in the mirror, I'm looking in the mirror, I don't like my hair right now. I don't like my glasses right now. I'm like, what was I thinking when I got those big dark frames? I need something light and bright, and those are all symptoms. They're showing symptoms that you're leaning toward a need for self-care. And if you look for those, there's two things you have to answer. First of all, do I need self-care? Secondly, how am I going to do self-care for myself? Different things work for different people. This is kind of, you probably would never guess this, but I have a television program that I really love. I love it so much that I actually pay for the series. I mean, the way I see it is $20 and it lasts, for like 10 or 16 weeks, something like that. So that's a couple bucks a week to see this show that I love. Now, the show is called Ink Masters, and it is a competition of tattoo artists. And I am always amazed with the artistry and how amazing they are. And so that's a way that I can relax, is to watch a show that I really like, that's not depressing, that doesn't, I know that the artist you like may get bumped off, but that happens. So for yourself, when you need urgent self-care, what if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and there's nobody you can talk to? There's always something you can do for self-care. So today, that's one of the most important things I wanted to do, was to encourage you to take care of yourself and to find ways to take care of yourself. I noticed the word in the daily word today is comfort. So what do you do to comfort yourself? All of us like comfort food. We don't want to overdo it, though, because if we have comfort food, then we have the other side, which is if we overdo, the other side of regret, that we indulged in the comfort food a little too much. So what ways can you self-soothe? What ways can you pay attention to look for a need for urgent self-care? We just backslide sometimes, We are still human beings having we are spiritual beings having a human experience, therefore we will express in human ways. I thought of something today that I really wanted to share with you, and it is from a book called The 4 Agreements. Now, the book was written by Don Miguel Ruiz, and you can look it up. You can even download it for free. But I wanted to go over one or more of the agreements. We'll see how many we do. The first one says, be impeccable with your word. Now that's really important, because when we want it, it says speak with integrity, say only what you mean, avoid using the word to speak against yourself or about others. Have you picked on yourself lately? Have you said, oh, I'm so stupid? No, you're not. That's not speaking with integrity because you're not stupid. If you said, oh, I'm so ugly, that's another thing. That is not speaking kindly and with integrity for yourself. Gossip, oh, it's so hard to gossip, isn't it? Not to gossip. It's easy to gossip. So hard not to gossip. Yet, we do slip into it, you know, and we can pull ourselves out. If you open your mouth and you find yourself starting to complain or gripe or say things you shouldn't say about another person, the minute you get that, say, well, you know, everybody has a different take on it. It says, use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. It's not what we say. It's how we say it. I did, you know, my crabbiness this morning was showing up, I'll tell on myself. And I happened to make a post about, please don't take those, don't use Messenger to send to everyone you know, especially if it says to send it back, because I will easily get 30 or 40 of those a day. When I hear that ding, I want to know I've got a message. So what that would mean is if it makes a ding and I'm not paying attention to it, that means I could be missing out on an important message. So, but I said it, and I must have said it I wrote it in a way, please stop. And some people took offense, and I felt so sad. So I took it down. And I don't know how else to say it. So I guess the only thing I can do is keep looking at them and see if it's important and let it go. But I don't mean it. And that leads us right into the second of the 4 agreements, which says, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. Don't take anything personally. That's a hard thing. You know, if someone makes a negative comment about what you say or what you do, you know, it might feel like, I always say there's a difference between critique and criticizing. Critique is spoken with love and it's helpful. Like, do you think maybe you could kind of tweak the way that you, let's go back to that post about please stop. What if you could go back and say it a little more kindly, you know? Is anyone else having a problem with people that use Messenger to spread chain mail? You know, so that is critique. Criticism is saying, why did you post that? Fine, I won't send you anything anymore. And then I go, what did I say? So learn the difference between critique and critical or criticism. It says what others say and do is, nothing others do is because of you. People are working with their own stuff. So if somebody says something to you, chances are it's not about you, even if they said it about you. Generally, people reflect what's going on inside of them. So they can be having a bad day. They can snap at you. They may point it right at you, but do your very best not to take it personally. What others say is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. So think on that. Maybe if someone snaps at you, even about you for something you did, like, you know, how come you look so crabby, or what are you smiling about, or, you know, stuff. You say anything when you're upset. What if you were more like, are you having a bad day? You know, instead of reacting to what they said and feeling bad, we can respond. We can say, gosh, you must be having a tough day. And that's okay. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. When I made that post this morning about please stop sending those things, apparently some people heard it and felt offended. And then I felt offended when they snapped back. So, but if we can get past that sense of if we become immune to feeling someone is picking on us because they are saying something that applies to us, we might want to do that. I don't want to be the victim of needless suffering, do you? And it's even worse if we chew on it and chew on it and chew on it. I have got a great remedy for that. And I encourage you to start this. I have a basket in my prayer center at home. And if somebody says something nice about me, even an email or something, I print it out. If they send me a card and it's saying I did a good job, they love me, they appreciate me, anything like that, I put it in the basket. And when I'm having a really crappy day and I feel worthless, I go to my basket and I open my little cards and I read my comments. That's a great way of self-care, urgent self-care, when there's nobody else around, because you will have those and the wonderful memories that go with them. Sometimes we need to be reminded we're really okay and we're really an okay person. Here's a big one. Don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. We all know when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. We don't need, when we assume, it's not going to be a good thing to do. So we want to find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. So if somebody said to me, let's see, you've got to, oh God, I can't think of anything right, but it's assumptions, I mean, it happens every 5 minutes. If someone made a comment to me that that my Sunday message was boring, that's hard. And so I would make the assumption they didn't like it. I wouldn't make the assumption, maybe that's not what they meant. Maybe I have an opportunity to look and see, can I perk that up a little bit? Was I having a bad day? Or maybe that's not it at all. So if you say, well, what was it about that struck you poorly? And that way you can get to the bottom of it. We can make it a simpler thing. Well, let's say your mate or your partner comes home and they're in a real foul mood, and they kind of slam the door and go into the house and go into the bathroom and slam the door, and you could be thinking, what did I do? Did I do something? A lot of people make assumptions. If you walk into a group of people and all of a sudden they stop talking, they're talking about me. They're talking about me. A lot of people suffer with that. Consider the possibility. Maybe they're planning you a surprise party. Or maybe it has nothing to do with you. Maybe they're talking about the boss and they don't want to get caught. So assumptions just cause us more problem. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. At those times when we're the one that snaps, when we're the one that makes assumptions, whatever, one of the most important things is to say I'm sorry or say I was wrong. I was wrong. Those will take the venom out of any kind of thing that someone wants to throw you. That if you're having an argument, and if it's true and you're wrong, stop defending yourself. Say, I'm really sorry, I was wrong. Bam! Immediately, all the venom is gone. And not only that, usually the person you say it to stops right away at pointing fingers and complaining and says, okay, yeah, I know we all have days. Try it, you'll like it. I promise you this works. I was wrong. So if you're wrong, don't waste your time and energy trying to defend it. Just say, I was wrong. It says with just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. The next one is always do your best. I can't say I have always been perfect, But I can tell you, and I can promise you, no matter what I ever did, I was doing the best I could. And if, wait a minute, you should never say, 2 words you should never say are never and always, because maybe there are times I wasn't doing my best. Maybe there are times when I was too tired. Maybe there were times when I didn't prepare well enough, you know? So, I'll take that back. Always do the best to do your best. And if you're not doing your best, admit it. Clear it up and see what you need to do to change. It says your best is going to change from moment to moment. If you're going through the experience we're having and it doesn't feel like a roller coaster, you are doing it way better than I am. Because I try really hard to stay grounded, but being a woman of passion, you know, I get passionate about things, and sometimes, as I always say, sometimes I get too much of my exercise by jumping to conclusions and pushing my luck. So you want to do your best and understand that sometimes your best isn't really your best. Be okay with it. It'll be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. When we are having when we're overtired, oh gosh, overtired is the worst thing for me. What are you like when you're overtired? Do you have to be overtired? Is there a way not to be overtired? I think I said it in one of my messages the other day. You know what's wonderful? A nap. I love naps. 20 minutes makes me a new person. And you know, you just kind of close your eyes, slump over a little bit, pull a cozy blanket over you, and you're gone for 20 minutes. You come back. Please know that a nap is very good medicine. Right up there with laughter. I'm going to tell you a joke later that's not a very ministerial joke, but something's telling me I need to share it. It says, under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Some people say, you know, they question, is hell eternal? And what I'm going to tell you is we create our own hell through our lower human consciousness, and it will last until we're willing to let go of it. Many of us can be in a self-imposed prison, and the bars of the prison are our own error thoughts about ourselves. So maybe we need to, you know, when Jesus said to, the most important thing is to love God, love your neighbor, and love yourself. Now, when it says love yourself, that's not narcissism. That is having caring and high regard for yourself, being honest with yourself, and not picking on yourself. Okay? That's important. Take care of yourself. And once you take care of yourself and you let go of regret, that's one rod out of that prison right away. We're not supposed to regret, and most of us do. There are things that we cannot change that we did in our lives. But very often, if we look down the road, we will see that it turned out for the good, despite what we thought of it. I don't recall if I've shared this with you before or not, but, you know, at one point I left Connecticut. I felt called to go. Life was tough. I did it. And then I regretted the piece of my life that I left behind that I couldn't get back. And things, I was actually estranged from my children for a while. And I have worked, that was decades ago, and I have worked for decades to make amends, to do what I had to do. But if I had not gone, I would not have found my spiritual path. I would not have learned so much about myself, and I would not have the ability to help others that I have now. My twins would not have been in a place where they could have met their wonderful wives and had these wonderful families. So you know, sometimes mistakes are not mistakes. But if we spend too much time picking on ourselves about them, we can create a living hell. Okay, so now that all that heaviness is over, I'm going to tell you a joke about our human part. It is not a very ministerial joke, and you may think it's naughty. So if you think it's naughty, you might want to stop watching now, lest you may have lesser thoughts of me. It's a joke that I just happen to like. All right, here we go. Hope I don't regret it. There was once a couple who were very, very much in love, and they were very passionate, and they had a very, very busy, intimate life. Well, something happened in the woman's physiology, and she went to the doctor, and the doctor said, okay, for 6 months, you cannot be intimate with your husband. And then you'll heal, and then everything will be okay. But for 6 months, no intimacy. Well, they were practicing and practicing, and they loved each other so much, and it was so hard to stay apart. One day, the woman bolts out of her room and starts running down the stairs, and the man bolts out of the living room and starts running up the stairs. And he says, where are you going? She says, I was just coming down to commit suicide. And she says, what are you doing? And he says, I was just coming up to kill you. That is our human part. Our human part has needs that sometimes have to be put on hold for our highest good. When I was trying to make my hair do something today, the words came to me, I am dying for a haircut. And then I thought, ooh, that's not true, because today, if we go out, we literally could be dying for a haircut. Or I could cut it myself, which would lead to a whole more bunch of regret. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for being with me. I appreciate you, and I love you, and I hope your day is going to be up. And remember, if you're needing self-care, pay attention to the signs. Take care of yourself. And if need be, please private message me, email me, text me. If nothing else, I can give you some love and support. Because I love you, I bless you, I appreciate you, and I behold the divinity in you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.